So Joy Reid wants to know how someone is supposed to interact with a family member who voted differently. This is the kind of question you only ask if you have the maturity and intelligence of a brain-damaged lizard. But for normal people, it's not confusing or difficult. You interact with your family members by speaking to them. I'd recommend starting with hello or, a similar greeting. If you want to avoid talking politics with them, that's fine. I personally enjoy debating politics with my family, although we agree on the fundamentals. I don't have any Kamala voters in my family. But, if you don't want to debate it, you don't have to. Your family is still your family. But that's not what this Yale psychiatrist says. According to her, your family is only your family if they agree with you politically. This is the kind of insight we can expect from Ivy League mental health experts. She is recommending isolation, alienation, and the severing of support systems. Okay, that's what a psychiatrist is recommending to people who are already obviously mentally unstable, which is like a cardiologist advising someone to elevate their cholesterol levels to like 300. I mean, it's the opposite of what you're supposed to be telling people to do, obviously. And if you're wondering why I'm extremely skeptical of the psychiatry profession, well, this woman is exhibit 1 million, approximately. A lot of people seem to have taken her advice, however. Here's a guy on TikTok giving his followers some self-care tips in the wake of the election results.
Well, good afternoon, you beautiful. Just a reminder that going no contact with somebody or people, family members, friends, because they voted for Trump and against your rights and your freedoms, in my opinion, is one of the ultimate forms of self-care. That's about it. Like, if someone wants you to have less rights and freedoms, then how the f*** is that? How is that person your family member or a friend? Why would you want to spend Thanksgiving with them? Why would you want to buy them gifts? Like, if they don't give a f*** about your rights and freedoms, then how the f*** do they give a f*** about you? That's it.
So some incredible wisdom. If they don't give an F about your rights and freedoms, then how the F do they give an F about you? I think he was quoting Aristotle there. Never mind the fact that none of these people can possibly explain which of their rights are threatened by Trump. What right specifically has Trump promised to end? Which right? Now, they can't answer that. They can't even begin to answer it. That ultimately is why they want to cut off contact with their Trump-supporting family members. It's not that those family members are rude or abusive to them. It's that those family members may ask them to explain their political position, which is something they absolutely cannot do, and they know they can't do it. That explains this post from somebody named Derek over on X. He wrote, quote, "I have cut ties with my MAGA father and sister. I will never, ever speak to them again. I will spit on their graves. If you still hang out with your friends or family that votes for fascism, you need a long look in the mirror." Yes, Derek says that if you are not spitting on the graves of your own family, you need to take a long look in the mirror. You need to stop and consider what went wrong in your life that you aren't disowning your family and spitting on their graves. That's what all the cool kids are doing. That's what all the totally well-adjusted and normal human beings are doing. I think the point has been made, but I will only reiterate that Derek here cannot explain how Trump is a fascist or what fascism is or why he's opposed to it, whatever it is. He has no clue. And he certainly doesn't want to be asked that question at Thanksgiving. He'd rather betray his own blood, stab them in the back, than have his own intellectual vacuousness exposed. Unfortunately for Derek, a little too late for that. We haven't even gotten to the worst example yet. Here's a Kamala voter attacking her own children for disagreeing with her dumb political views.
So here's a problem that I have dealing with my MAGA sons. They get very, very offended if I say that I think that they are ignorant to some things because of their support for this rapist and felon. But here's the thing. I have two choices when I try to understand why they would support an abhorrent human that goes against every value I tried to instill in them. Here's my two choices. I can believe that you are ignorant, or I can believe that you are evil. Ignorant is the kinder choice.
So just to review, this horrific witch of a woman decided to make a TikTok video publicly accusing her own sons of either being ignorant or evil because they voted for someone she doesn't like. And what are they ignorant of? What information do you have, lady, about Trump that they don't have? Can you enlighten them? Can you share these salient details with them? I'm sure you've tried, but the problem is that you believe a bunch of nonsense that you heard from MSNBC. And your sons are too respectful to inform you that you are a pretentious dimwit with your head stuck up your ass. Unfortunately, you aren't my mom, so I can say that to you. They won't say it, I'm guessing, because they care about their family, which is more than I can say about you. Ever feel like you're being watched on the internet? Unfortunately, you're not just being paranoid. You are indeed being monitored every single time you go online. Internet service providers can see every single website you visit. In the US, they're even allowed to sell your browsing history. And yes, that includes everything you do inside a so-called incognito tab. If you think that should be illegal, I agree with you. But until the law can be changed, you need to protect yourself. And the way I do it is with ExpressVPN, an easy-to-use app that encrypts and reroutes all my internet traffic through secure servers. Because I use ExpressVPN, my internet service provider can't see my browsing history. They've got nothing to sell because they've got nothing on me. ExpressVPN also hides my IP address, which is the number that identifies you on the internet. Because I hide my IP address with ExpressVPN, greedy data brokers can't use it to build a profile of me to sell off to marketers. My data is mine, and mine alone. I wouldn't call myself a tech expert, but I find ExpressVPN incredibly easy to use. I just tap one button to get connected, and they have apps for every device, phone, laptop, desktop, tablets, you name it. Not to mention, it's the #1 rated VPN by CNET, The Verge, and tons of other tech reviewers as well. So if you want to start taking your online privacy seriously, don't wait. Use my special link to get 3 extra months of ExpressVPN for free at expressvpn.com/election. That's expressvpn.com/election. Now, let me end this with just one last thought for any leftist considering cutting off contact with family members who committed the sin of having a mind and opinions of their own. You're free to make that choice, of course, but if you do, please don't bother us a few years from now with some tearful follow-up video crying about how lonely and sad you are. Okay? Please don't do that. Because none of us will have any sympathy for you. None of us will care. You know what? Actually, we'll laugh in your face. We will laugh at your pain right in your face. Because you're choosing it. You are choosing to be isolated and alone. I mean, that woman in that video, she's going to die alone. Her family's going to hate her. She's going to be in a nursing home, just dying alone with no one to even visit her. And if they do, they're going to do so begrudgingly because they don't want to spend any time with her. And she's going to be really sad about that. But you know what? I don't care. Your pain means nothing. You deserve it. To return from a theme from last week, that's justice. You deserve that. You are disowning and disavowing the only people who love and care about you unconditionally. Now, for most of the people in these videos and most of these leftist types who would want to disown their families, like, the rest of us don't want to be around you or talk to you or even get to know you because you're incredibly unpleasant and insufferable. Going back to that woman in the video. Like, no other person in the world, I guarantee you, no one wants to be around that woman. She has no real friends. The friends that she has hate her guts and talk about her behind her back. No one wants to be around a person like that. No way. You do have a family, though. And your family loves you anyway. Right? If you push them away, you'll be left with no one. You'll be miserable and alone and alienated from the only people who ever cared about you or wanted to be around you. And you'll deserve it. But hey, at least you'll have made a statement about Trump. A statement that will have no impact on the world outside of your own life, which you will have made even more miserable than it already was. And that is why you will be, at that point, and are now already today, canceled. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.